All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. Unless anyone has any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to chime in. I will have us muted to begin with, but you are always welcome to unmute yourself or use our chat box at the bottom. So don't hesitate to do that anytime during class. And I'm going to scooch over to my mat then. Oh, and we'll get the stiffness out. Except some of you went for walks already, so good job. I've been real lazy lately, but that's okay. All right, so we have been starting this class off as a suggestion and some type of just gentle little lift for the legs or a gentle inversion. So if you'd like to take a position like that in your surroundings, you can. You might be close to a sofa or a lazy boy, and you can use your furniture at home to throw your legs over. If you have a chair that you bring into your practice, we can use this to put our legs up on. If you're near a wall and you'd like to scooch against a wall and slide your legs for legs up the wall pose with some support under the low back or flat to the floor. If we don't have any of those things, we can just take pillows and blankets and pile them up and then bring our lower legs across these items. Other items we might want to have today are our bolsters or pillows, a folded blanket. We'll have our yoga straps nearby. Sometimes we get there, sometimes we don't. Yoga blocks. I use a folded towel and my meditation cushion to sit on. And then any type of eye covering you might want to have for the end of our class. So for taking our gentle inversion here, for me, I'm going to add the addition of my towel over the seat of my chair just to make it a little softer for my legs. And I'm also going to take my folded blanket and whatever, just a nice wide fold. And I'm going to place this on my mat so that when I lie down, I have some extra cushion there too. And when we come into our inversions, whether your legs up the wall or another variation, you can have your legs more vertical. If we're doing the chair setup, I would suggest sitting a little further away from the chair so that when we bring our legs onto the seat of the chair, and I'm kind of lifting up a little bit so I can lengthen out that lower back. And I have my thighs at more of an angle versus perpendicular. But that's totally a personal choice, whatever you feel works best for your body. And of course, you're always welcome to just lie flat in Shavasana. Once we're here, we'll take a moment to get organized, loosen things up. The arm bones, we just roll away from the upper body with the palms up. If we want to go right into this area around the chest, the shoulders, we can cactus those arms out from the shoulders. So bending at our elbows and allowing the backs of the hands to fall to the floor. Adjust the shoulders as well once you get your arms comfortable. And then we'll rock our head out this morning, just kind of loosening around that neck area and trying to find the very back center of our skull. And once we find that place, we will close our eyes. And let's take a smooth inhalation through the nose at the very start of our practice here. And then a nice smooth exhale out of the nose. And on this exhale, we're going to let our whole body soften, relax the muscles, loosen the joints. Let's do that one more time. Nice full breath. Breathe it in. And breathe it all the way back out. And on this exhale, we feel the body relax. It gets a little heavy. And the whole weight of our body drops into the ground. And then let's mentally start to reconnect to our body here. So we'll take a mental scan of the whole body from the crown of the head down into those fingertips and toes. We are consciously letting go of any unnecessary tension or tightness we might find. Paying special attention to all those little muscles around the face. So soften the brow, relax around the eyeballs, poof the cheeks with air, wiggle out the mouth, tongue, and jaw as needed. And continue to move down the limbs of the arms, the legs. And then around the torso, softening around the waist. Relax the abdomen completely. And as we're tuning in this morning, taking that inventory, so recognizing and honoring any areas that maybe feel a little stiff, that we might have been taking care of throughout our week. And we allow those areas to relax as well, remembering that we practice with ahimsa, nonviolence, which also includes ourselves and our own body. And now let's start to feel and notice just the natural rhythm of our breath this morning. Noticing the quality of our breathing. Where it's flowing, any sounds it might be making. We might even notice that one side of our sinuses is a little bit more open than the other, flowing a little differently from the right to the left side. We might start to notice that natural expansion as we breathe in, and that natural contraction as we breathe out. And then we're going to take this to a couple steps further for our first pranayama exercise here. So we'll start to layer on Samavritti pranayama. This is where we try to equalize our breathing. So on our next inhale, we will mentally count the number that we're breathing in, all this wonderful fresh air this morning. And then when we get to the exhale, we try to mentally count the same number back out as we empty the body of stale old air and energy. The number doesn't really matter. You might start out with a count to 3, both in and out through the nose. And then as we spend more time with our breath, it might start to lengthen. So we might move up in our count, adding 1 or 2 counts to both the inhale and exhale. And then the next layer that we've added on for our month of October is the Ujjayi pranayama, our victorious breathing. And this is a very gentle constriction at the base and back of the throat. We should never be straining the throat or vocal cords or forcing or straining the breath. But if we add that gentle constriction, we'll start to feel a soft vibration and maybe hear very soft whisper-like or ocean-like sound. So Ujjayi breath is both used as a very calming breath for meditation, and sometimes during asana as a breath that helps us with more vigorous postures that we might be practicing. It helps slow the breathing down, and it gives our mind something to concentrate on. It is also stimulating the physical area of our throat, the thyroid and parathyroid glands, which help with our endocrine system. And the element associated with this area of Vishuddhi chakra is the element of space. So as we breathe in and out into our body, feel like we are creating and moving that breath all through the space of our body and absorbing all the air around us and the space that we occupy. And then let's all cycle through one more breath. And on this breath, we will let go of our count and we will just try to take our biggest breath of our day yet. So whenever we get to our next inhale, we're going to take our time and fill ourselves up to capacity. Let the abdomen expand. Feel that space move and open between the rib cage, side to side, front to back. Fill, 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 fill till we can no longer fill our body up. The breath is now pouring over and out. And when we can no longer take any more air in, we will smoothly and gently start our exhale and let this be our biggest exhale of our morning yet. This will be a little bit more powerful, so we'll put a little bit more effort into it, squeezing, contracting muscles to push all that air out. Empty, 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 every last drop. And when there is no more air to exhale and it's all out, we will gently release control of trying to follow the breath for a moment. It will go wherever it wants to go. And then we'll come back to feeling the weight of our relaxed body here on the floor, and we'll start to gently wake the body up. So just a little wiggle in the toes and fingertips, another little rock of the head. Now, depending where we all are in our opening posture, we might be doing a little different of movement here. If we happen to have our legs over a chair, you can just stretch one leg up at a time, pressing the back of the thigh into the edge of the chair, roll through the ankles, maybe stretch the arms overhead as well. If we took legs up the wall pose, we'll want to visit Baddha Konasana at the wall. So sliding the feet down the wall, letting the knees open and bringing the soles of the feet to touch. That will help regulate the blood pressure for a moment. And if we're on pillows or on the floor, just take that long body stretch, spread the toes and the fingers. And then we'll all float our arms down and either step our feet to the edge of the chair for a moment or draw your knees together at the wall. If you're at the wall, you might push your feet into the wall to help your body scooch away from the wall slightly. If we're able to hug our knees into the body, we can do that for a moment here as well. And then we'll all end up on our side. So bringing one arm beside the head, rolling onto our side and pausing here, because if we've been in a gentle inversion, we want to give ourselves a moment on our side. And then we'll turn the heart towards the ground, push down, and bring our bodies up this morning. So we are going to come right into a seated position. I'll give us all a moment to reorganize our space. So that might be moving things away from our mat or bringing things onto our mat. So in our seated position, I would recommend still sitting up on something, whether that's your folded blanket, a cushion, or a yoga block. And we'll find those sit bones. And we want to be in a position where we're able to sit up as tall as possible. Place the legs in whichever position feels best for the body today. Sukhasana, easy cross, Siddhasana, heel to heel. Move flesh out of the way so that we can really feel the bony part of our bottom here. Sit up tall, do draw the low belly in just enough to support the spine. We'll float our fingertips out beside the body, turning the palms up. Let's take another nice big breath in and reach those arms up. Big stretch. On the exhale, palms out, fingertips float back down. And now we'll add the neck. So on our inhales, when we reach up, float the chin up, but keep the back of the neck long. Just don't drop the weight of the head backwards. Think more about lengthening. And on our exhale, without rounding the back or the upper back, we're going to try to pull the chin down towards the chest, but also feel like you're lifting the chest to the chin. So on our inhales, we're lengthening. Our eyes can roll upwards, drift you towards the sky. And on our exhales, we're going to stretch out the root of the neck, compress the front of the throat. Let's do 2 more centering breaths. We can continue with a soft Ujjayi breath here. Now the next time we exhale and our fingertips are reaching towards the floor, take your time to get there, there's no rush. And our chin comes down to our chest. We're gonna pause here. Now we can shrug those shoulders down away from our ears. We can also just kind of let the arms hang heavy, but sit up tall, no rounding of the spine. Inhale, we'll roll our right ear to our right shoulder and gaze forward. Exhale, we pull the chin back down towards the chest. And then we inhale, left ear to left shoulder, looking forward. And just move with your breath side to side. Again, relax the shoulders down, still stretching the root and the back of the neck, and laterally here side to side. And we'll take it one more time over to our right. One more time to our left. When you've balanced yourself out, we'll meet with the chin straight down to the chest. Look towards the belly button. And then inhale, reach the arms, draw a straight line with the tip of the nose to re-extend all the way up. Bringing the palms to touch this time and exhaling our hands in front of our heart. So let's take a moment. If your legs need a quick wiggle, let's try to adjust and place the opposite foot in front. And this morning, we'll go right into our flowing twist. So inhale those arms up. And on our exhale, let's rotate to our right. Fingertips might float down. Let this twist move all the way up the upper back, through the neck, crown of the head, and use those eyeballs to peek behind the body. Inhale, breathing, bring it all back up. Keep the length. Exhale, rotate around the axis of that spine. Feel that rotation up the upper back, the neck, all the way through the crown. Use those eyes. Inhale, bring it back. One more time to each side, following that breath. The exhale, we squeeze that breath out, and we wring everything out. After we've twisted one more time to our left side, again, we'll meet on the inhale, both arms reaching up to the ceiling. Turn those palms out. Exhale, fingertips float back down to the floor. Lateral extension, seated triangle with the breath again. So on our inhale, we create length. We root that right sit bone. I started with our right arm. Our inhales pull us up through center. Keep that low belly pulling in to protect that back. Really try to create space through the waistline, the ribs, and all the way up through the shoulder. Our drishti for our neck can turn down, can stay forward or up. And let's go one more time to each side. Nice big lateral stretch. And after we balance ourselves out here, we'll meet on the inhale again, both arms up, no rush. Bring those palms to touch and exhale to our center. So now we'll make our bigger transition to tabletop. However works best for us to get there. We'll reorganize our space one more time. So remember, really splay. Again, space is our element we're working with today. So try to create as much space as possible between the webbing of the fingertips. Have space between the hands. They are as broad, if not a little wider than the shoulders. The head is floating in line with our spine here. Knees are stacked right underneath our hips. Now we might want to have our toes tucked under for more of a stretch for the soles of the feet, or more ankle flexibility, flatten the feet. Going right into our cat-cow, so we get some flexion and extension now for our spine. On our inhale, relax the abdomen, create space between the vertebra and our gentle back bend. On the exhale, tuck that tail under, pull the belly in, poof up the back of the heart, and try to squeeze that chin to the chest today to compress through the front of the throat and stretch out the root of the neck. So in our cat-cows, we're not just jamming ourselves into a back bend and just cramming ourselves through the front. We're trying to lengthen the spine the whole time. So when you go into your inhale, think space through the spine, and same thing on the exhale. And I'm gonna let you keep going at your own rhythm. And then we'll balance ourselves out, coming into a neutral position. A little bit more core work here. Strength through the arms. Let's stretch our right foot straight back from the hip. Ball the foot to the floor. We can press our weight down through that heel to intensify the stretch of the back of the leg. And then today we're going to squeeze our right side. So tone the glutes, the hamstrings, low back, and hover that right leg parallel to the floor. Try to maintain equal weight through both hands. Press through the knuckles. And then we'll flex that right knee. The foot is also flexed, so the sole of the foot should now be facing the ceiling. This is our crouching tiger pose. We'll move with our breath. So as we inhale, try to look up and lift that foot up a little higher. On the exhale, point the toes, sweep that right knee forward, chin to chest, nose towards the knee. Inhale, look up, press the sole of the foot up. Good. Exhale, pull and squeeze. One more round. Next time we're on our inhale and we're lifting up through that backside, we will hold here, or we will practice our half bow pose, or maybe just more of a balancing pose. So try to keep your right thigh up, left arm reaches forward, palm in, thumb up. We'll flip that thumb down, reach around, and point through the right foot. We might be able to find the toes or the top of the foot. And then right foot kicks into hand. It does pull that left shoulder back. Ardha Dhanurasana. If we don't have the foot today, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Breathe it in. Those of us that do have the foot, when we release it, don't fling that foot. Exhale. Your foot should still be up in the air when you release your grip. Bring the hand down. Place that knee down purposefully. Fingertips, or make your fist for wrists. If your wrists want to take a break, take a couple cat-cows just to get everything back where it should be. Neutral position, equal weight in both hands. Draw that low belly in. Keep those hips level. Give your left leg a nice stretch out. Just give it a stretch at first. Ball the foot to the floor. Shift your weight back through that heel, opening up the eye of the knee and up through the back of the leg. And then more power, squeeze the left buttock, hamstring, low back, and we'll hover our left leg parallel to the floor. Good. Now bend that left knee. The foot is also flexed, so our sole of the foot is facing the ceiling. Crouching tiger. Inhale, look up, try to lift the foot up higher. Exhale, point the toes so that we can sweep the knee forward, chin to chest, nose towards the knee. Inhaling, we squeeze and lift, strengthening the back. Exhale, squeeze the front. One more round. Next time that foot is lifted up or squeezing, we're holding here, or we'll add the right arm, palm in, thumb up to start. Hold here, or flip that thumb down, reach around, point to the toes of the foot. Maybe we're able to find the foot. And if you take a hold of the foot, foot kicks back into the hand, which will pull your right shoulder back. If we don't have it, don't worry, just keep breathing and balancing. One more big breath in. Controlled release. So when we exhale, we let go of that foot. It doesn't fling anywhere. Use your muscles. Bring the right hand down. Place that left knee down purposefully. Fingertips, fist for wrist. Couple cat-cows. So we just did some back strengthening and back bending. So let's give our back a big stretch and our hands a break, or our wrists a break. First, child's pose. We'll open the knees wide. Touch the big toes together, sink our hips to our heels. Now, some of us might want to continue to open up through the shoulders, so we'll open our hands even wider now, really reach to the fingertips or even hasta to the hands so that the wrists and the elbows are actually floating from the floor. If the head isn't touching or we want to be more passive, just cross at the forearms and rest the forehead on our arms. And of course, if you take care of your knees, you'll keep your hips higher up, or you may sit back on some type of prop or use a prop under the forehead. Perfect. And we're giving our low back a nice big stretch here. And we'll all take one more breath. Breathe into the back of the body. And then on our inhale, head comes up, body comes up, and we reposition ourselves in our tabletop, but we'll walk ourselves more towards the back of our yoga mat because we'll do a little bit of a low flow today as well. So let's start with our toes tucked under, low bellies engaged, spine in neutral. Hands walk at least one hand's distance forward so the arms are more of an angle. On our inhale, we glide forward into kneeling plank. So we want our shoulders over our wrists, and we want to be able to float our hips between the shoulders and the knee joints. So we have a straight line from the knees to the crown of the head. Our exhales may take us back to a bow, where we pop our palms up and we just bow the head towards the floor. That'll be a nice stretch for the shoulders and a wrist break. Others of us will start our little chaturangas, bending our elbows straight back. They do not flare up. No chicken wings. And then you can always bow back when you want. So our inhale is kneeling plank, powerful pose. Exhale, bow, or bend those elbows. Try to do a hover, but your spine should stay neutral. And then you can always sit it back. Good, nice choices. And some of you might be staying forward and just working on strengthening the back of those upper arms. Good, nice alignment. Be mindful of that head. Sometimes we just dip and lower the head when we think we're going up and down. But that looks good. Next time we come forward, we're gonna come all the way into our bellies. So we'll inhale to our kneeling plank, squeeze those elbows in. We'll try to come down nice and slow. We're gonna lower all the way down in the abdomen. Stretch our chin forward, sliding our hands right underneath our shoulders. Continue to pull your shoulder blades together and down the back. Point through the toes so we can flatten out the tops of the feet. Remember to keep them wider than our hips if we take care of those low backs. We may also zip the toes and legs to touch, forming the tail of our snake. Bhujangasana. Inhale, squeeze the back to lift the heart. And then on our exhale, we'll turn this into swan pose. So we're going to squeeze our chin to our chest and try to lightly touch the forehead or that hairline to the ground. Inhale, we lift back up and we let the chin move slightly forward. Exhale, squeeze chin to chest, lower the forehead to the ground, and then inhale, lift. Now the whole time, your glutes should be actively supporting the back. Your legs should be strong and toned, and you're squeezing through the back side of the body. Now, if you want a little bit more, on our inhales, when we lift up, lift your hands up, squeeze to the upper back, and on our exhale, lightly touch the hands and the forehead to the floor. Let's try two more. Next inhale, when we lift up, we're holding, but we're not holding our breath. Keep breathing. Strong legs, strong glutes. Chest is lifting, hands might come up. Let's reach our hands towards our heels, palms down into our half locust pose. And then try to take hold of all 10 fingers behind the back, adding our chest expansion. So this will strengthen the upper back around the shoulders, between the shoulder blades. Eyes can look slightly forward, keep the neck long, squeeze and lift one leg up from the ground, half locust. Exhale it down. Inhale, squeeze and lift the other straight leg up from the floor, good. Exhale it down, repeat single leg locust or both legs squeeze and lift up. Reach your knuckles towards your heels, super powerful pose. One more inhale. Next exhale, softly release the body down, turning the head to one side and take a break and breathe. Relax your heels out. And then inhale, chin forward, hands under the shoulders, engage through the legs, squeeze the glutes enough to support the back. Inhale, Bhujangasana Cobra. From here, we're gonna slide our elbows forward and come into our Sphinx pose. So nice to pinky edge of the hands into the ground here. Press firmly through your forearms. Again, I'm not just jamming my upper back towards my lower back. Instead, I'm energetically pulling my elbows in towards my hips, pulling my spine forward all the way to the crown of the head, and then upwards, creating that space between the vertebrae. My backside here is relaxed, so my heels are still opening out. The glutes aren't squeezing to support the back. And I might even feel a stretch here through the whole front of my body and gazing forward. Again, a little bit for the neck here. Let's breathe it in. On our exhale, just turn the head to look over the right shoulder. See how far you can see. Maybe you can catch a foot back there. Inhale it back. Exhale, let's peek over our left shoulder. Nice little twist for the neck. Inhale, bring it back. One more time to each side. And inhale, bring it back. So we're gonna get into some fun, I think they're fun, shoulder stretches now, which will also include our neck. I'm just gonna turn so you can see me if you wanna see me, but you stay right where you are. You might want, so a towel or something, a little extra cushion for the head. So the first one we'll do is tying the knot pose. So this will be a nice big stretch for the outside upper shoulder area. So we're still in Sphinx pose. Gentle little back bend. Let's take our palms down flat to the floor now and just slide your right palm forward and straighten the arm up. It's gonna lift us a little bit higher up, and this will make space underneath our chest. And we're gonna turn our left fingertips in without twisting the shoulders. Do not come on to the outside of your left shoulder. Keep your shoulders square to the front of your mat, but just slide your left arm as much as you can for now under the chest. And then you're gonna take your right fingertips and walk them over in front of the chest. So your shoulders are square facing forward. The arms are now in a knot, and as much as possible, you'll continue to inch your arms out to the sides of the room or the mat. And we're gonna hang out here and breathe. Now the chin can drop down. We'll let the weight of the body sink towards the ground. That will intensify the stretch. Remember, if you feel any pinching, numbness, or falling asleep, tingling sensations, it's too much. So you need to lessen that. But if we want more of a stretch, at this point, we may tuck our toes under and slightly push ourselves forward over those arms. So I'm tucking my toes under, and then I'm pushing through my feet to bring my head a little bit more forward over those arms. Let's all take one more nice deep breath in this pose. If the toes are tucked, release the feet. Carefully walk your right fingertips back forward. Place that right palm into the ground. Push down to lift up so that we can carefully slide our left arm out. Now both arms are going to reach forward. We'll bring our hands into prayer position. Drop the head to the ground in full crocodile pose. You can kind of swim side to side here, swimming your fingertips even more forward to get that big stretch. And then we'll walk our hands underneath the shoulders, chin forward. Do tighten up the buttocks just enough, strong legs. Inhale, cobra, squeeze that upper back. Slide those elbows forward. Lift, lengthen, create space through the spine, Sphinx pose. And then we'll do our tying the knot on the other side. So palms down, slide your left hand forward. Just press through that hand, the arm will straighten and you'll lift up a little higher. And then we'll walk our right forearm under our chest. Don't turn the shoulders, just bring the arm as far as you can out to one side, lower down, left fingertips are gonna reach across. So we should just have our opposite arm in front. And then from here, you can inch and wiggle your arms out to the sides as much as possible. Chin may drop down, hold and breathe. A little bit more, tuck those toes under. Push into your feet to push your body slightly more forward over those arms. And if our toes are tucked, relax the feet. Carefully wiggle your left palm back forward, press it into the earth so that we can slide our right arm out. Both arms reach forward, bring your palms into prayer. Drop the head down, swim it out, crocodile pose. And then hands under the shoulders, chin forward, tuck the toes under, scoop the tailbone under, pull the inner abdomen away from the floor, and we're gonna push back up. So we just stretched our shoulders. We're gonna have to use those muscles now. Walk those knees underneath to the hips, tabletop, couple cat-cows. We were doing some gentle back bending there as well. So if anyone wants to sit it back into a child's pose for a moment to stretch out those muscles, go for it. And then when we're ready, walk those hands forward, tuck the toes under, and we'll float ourselves up into maybe our first downward facing dog of our morning. So take a moment here, pedal those heels, walk it out, stretch it out. We should still have a lot of space between the webbing of the fingertips and space between the hands. They're as broad as the shoulders. Rolling those upper arm bones away from our ears. Good. If you take modifications for your down dog, absolutely continue to take your modifications. Now, in the version that we've been practicing for the month of October, it's a little different with the head position and the drishti. So we'll find some stillness in Adho Mukha Svanasana and try to apply Jalandhara Bandha. So we bring chin to chest, we compress and squeeze the front of the throat, and our drishti is towards our navel center. So it's a little different positioning there, but our weight is still shifting back and down the legs through those heels. Simply bend the knees more as needed to release tension through the back. One more breath. And then inhale, we will gaze between our hands and try to walk our feet to our hands to feet. Take your modifications, maybe bending knees and elbows on thighs, or ragdoll, grab opposite elbows. Try to straighten one leg at a time. If you're in Uttanasana, you can try to now release the whole weight of the head so that we can let go of tension in the neck and shoulders. But our legs and our lower bandha should be strong and firm. So that means we're lifting up through the pelvic floor muscles and in and up through those lower abdominal muscles. And then we're gonna roll it on up today. So we'll all micro bend our knees, place our hands on our thighs with the fingers turned inward. Squeeze that chin to the chest. And on the inhale, we'll restack our spine, one vertebra at a time. Rolling up, up, up. Head should be the last thing to come up. When the head is up, let's squeeze our shoulders up, some purposeful tension here around the neck. And then exhale, release the shoulders away from the ears. Hover the arms out beside the body. We'll turn our palms forward, create space between the fingertips. Lifting up the toes and spread the toes to create space between the toes. Let's unlock our knees. If you're jamming your knees backwards, let the shin bones come slightly forward. Really grounding down through the mound of the big toe and that inner heel, mound of the pinky toe, outer heel. The toes may then softly float back down to the floor. Pull front body to back body, no tension in the neck. The head is just floating. And then let's take a big breath in, draw that big circle. So really reaching out wide and overhead. Palms touch, exhale to our center. Now we'll add our balance. Inhale, draw that big circle, this time floating the heels up. Reach as high as we can. Exhale, as much control as possible, lower the heels and the hands to heart. 2 more times. Palm tree pose. Toning and strengthening lower half of the body here. Toning and strengthening our mental capacity, our focus, our concentration, and memory. All of our balancing poses Super powerful for our brain. Next time we lower down, we'll meet here. If you're still at the front of your mat, stay there. If you're not, we'll walk up to the front of our yoga mat with our feet hips width apart, and we'll place our hands on our hips. We want our hips to stay square and facing forward this whole time. Let's take a big step back with our right foot into high lunge. So we still have space between the feet. We're not on a tight rope. Lunge that left knee right over the ankle. Feel a little buoyancy on the ball of the right foot. So high lunge is still a balancing pose. We will make sure we're not hyperextending through the back. So we're going to anchor our tailbone to the ground, pull our low ribs into the body, let the shoulders float down. Once we're stable and strong here, inhale, arms reach up. We'll add our revolved lunge. So in this exhale, twist the upper body to the left. Arms come parallel to the floor. Continue that twist through the neck and try to take your drishti to your back fingertips. Good. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, open twist to the right. You gotta squeeze that right side. Inhale up. One more time, big exhales. Use that ujjayi breath. Inhale up. One more time to the right. Big squeeze. We'll meet on our inhale with the arms reaching up. Shoulders and hips should be square. Exhale, bring the palms to touch, hands to the heart center. Some of us, we will rotate back to our left and stay upright here. Others of us might want to tip at the hips and hook our right elbow to the outside of our left knee into our revolved lunge. We have to make the best decision for our body today. I'm able to move a little bit more today, so I'm going to try it. I've been modifying the last, 3 classes. Every day is different. So if you're upright, you're still squeezing through your left side. If you've hooked your elbow, you want to try to keep your hands at the center of the heart. We will make a fist in our left hand, pressing it into the right palm. This will help draw the left shoulder blade back even more. Continue that rotation through the neck and try to either look to that back elbow or up to the ceiling. We'll all take one more breath. If we are hinged, bring your palms back together. Inhale, use your muscles to lift the upper body back up. We'll all face forward. And then exhale, step right foot all the way back up into Tadasana. Float the arms out beside the body. Turn the palms forward, spread the fingers. Pick up the toes, spread the toes. Let the lower half of the body be strong and grounded. Let the head be relaxed. Inhale, big circle all the way up. Stretch it up. Bring the palms touch. Exhale to our center. Hands come back onto the hips. Keep them square. Big step back with our left foot, high lunge. So if you need to widen that stance, widen it. We will lunge our right knee directly over our ankle. And we're getting that stretch to the front of the hips, especially if you're able to bring your front body in and really ankle your tailbone to the ground. Feel that stretch to the front of the left hip. Once we have our balance, we'll add the twisting. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, squeeze your muscles along the right-hand side of the body. Parallel your arms. Press them down through thick mud. Look to your back fingertips. Inhale up. Exhale, squeeze to the left, open twist. Good. One more time each side. Ujjayi breath, big exhale to twist all the way up through the crown of the head. Challenges our balance as well. We'll meet on the inhale, everybody reaching back up to center, shoulders and hips square. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep this length. Simply rotate the upper body to the right now. Choosing to stay here in an upright revolved lunge. If you want to try to hinge, you're hooking the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. And that works as a little bit of leverage to take us a little deeper into the twist, maybe. Beautiful modifications, love to see it. If we happen to be hooked, we'll make a fist in our right hand, press it into our left palm, and then pull that right shoulder blade back. The neck stays long. Keep squeezing, compacting the hips, low belly in. We can take our drishti up to the ceiling towards that back elbow. It's a powerful pose. Hold and breathe. That Ujjayi breath can help. Hands will come back to heart center. On our inhale, if we are hinged, we got to pull ourselves back up. We'll all face back forward and up. And then exhale, pull that left foot. Mine's stuck. Pull it forward. Oh, it's a big movement. Arms come down, palms face forward, spread those fingers. Pick up the toes, spread the toes. Feel space through the body and just breathe. Inhale, let's reach it up, big stretch. Palms touch, exhale, hands to heart. So here, we're gonna come back to a balancing pose we did a couple classes ago. So you need to reorganize yourself in your space, do so, and we'll want our yoga straps. So we're gonna play with Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. This pose from the outside can look easy in quotation marks. So if somebody was watching us do this pose, they might be like, oh, that's nothing. But this is actually a super challenging pose. Creates a lot of strength through the whole body. And I'll give us modifications as well. So once we get situated, we have our straps. We're gonna anchor our legs and feet together and stand nice and tall. Squeeze those hips. Use your lower bandhas. From here, hover your right heel up. Now squeeze to lift your right thigh. And we can bring our hands to our hips. This sometimes helps. So don't sink into one hip or the other. Compact them. Lift the thigh up and we flex the foot. So the toes are pulling up. So this is not a soft one. This is a super powerful one. We should already feel this effort here in our abdomen. From here, you may just stay here and bring the right fingertips to the knee. If we want to add the belt, what we do is we open it up. This is the trickiest part. And hook the middle of our strap near the arch of the foot. And then the right hand comes to the inside of the knee. Now we can just use the strap as assistance. The fuller version of this pose is to stretch the right foot forward. The fuller version still is to have your yogi toe grip with hand to big toe. But I do not teach that variation because most people throw themselves out of alignment anyway. So our strap is just an extension of our arm because the upper body should still be up against an invisible wall. We should not be rounding forward, and we're breathing. Now next position, whether the leg is straight or the knee is bent, whether you have the strap or not, we open the right knee out to the right. And we try to keep it as parallel to the floor as possible. That foot is still flexing. So again, your knee might be bent, or you can try to straighten it out. From here, left arm reaches out, palm faces forward, thumb up. The next challenge is to add that movement in the neck and take your drishti to the left thumb. And if we move out of the pose, we just come back to it. Good modifications. Hold and breathe for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, look forward. Hand to hip. Straight or bent knee, pull it straight back forward. Those of us that do have the strap, you're gonna undo the strap. We'll all try to extend the foot forward. More traditional, point through the big toe and lift the leg parallel to the floor for 3, 2, 1. Release. Whew. Go right into Tadasana. Try not to fidget, move around too much. We want to pause and observe and keep our focus and concentration. Same focus and concentration other side. So compact the hips, lift up to the bandhas, hover left heel from the floor. Let's bring our hands onto our hips so we can notice if they start to shift or throw themselves out of alignment. Squeeze to lift that left thigh up. Left foot is very active. Pull those toes up. Powerful pose. Draw the belly and stand tall. We'll hold here, centered. We might bring our fingertips onto that knee. We might try to hook the strap around the arch of the foot, bringing our hand to the inside. And we may try to extend the foot. Now, still keep your shoulders pulled back up against that invisible wall. Use your Ujjayi breath. Next position, straight or bent knee, opens out to the side. Pull your shoulders back. Next position, right arm extends as straight from the shoulder, palm forward, thumb up. We turn and twist through the neck, gazing to that right thumb. For 3, 2, 1. Inhale, look forward, hand to hip. Bring the knee, the foot forward. Stand tall. Undo the strap if you have it. We'll all try to re-extend the leg. You can try to lift it up as high as possible. Maybe point to the toes without leaning too far back. We are against a visible wall. 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Float those arms out. Keep your focus. Notice the breath. And let it go. All right, good job. Awesome work. We can just throw our strap down wherever and come back to the top of our yoga mat. That's a good pose. It's so good for our concentration. Okay, standing tall in Tadasana, feet parallel. Float the head. Big breath in. Last chance to stretch it all out here. So stretch it up to the ceiling. Maybe even take the drishti up to those thumbs. On our exhale, we'll micro bend our knees, hinge from the hips, and take our swan dive back to whatever variation we're choosing. A forward fold, Uttanasana. Try to release the neck, the shoulders. On our inhale, we will take our halfway lift, so hands to shins. Pull those shoulder blades together and down the back, looking forward. Next, exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, and we take our big step back into plank position. So you're more than welcome to be in a kneeling plank or even a forearm plank. We will do our articulation and rolling planks today. So we're going to try to create even more space between the vertebra of the spine and flex and extend all the way through those joints of the spine. So we're in plank. Raise it in. On the exhale, start with the chin. Squeeze the chin to the chest, poof up between the shoulder blades, and roll up one vertebra at a time. So you're trying to roll through the spine, mid-back, low back, the hips, and sink that weight down through the heels to the ground. Chin is still tucking. On the inhale, start with the heels now. Heels up, hips up, low back, mid-back, upper back. Chin still tucking. Last thing to move forward is the head, gazing forward to plank. Exhale, squeeze the chin. Poof up the back of the heart. Roll one vertebra at a time. All the way down the spine, all the way down into the heels. Inhale, heels up, hips up. Roll all the way back through the spine, up the back. Crown of the head is the very last thing to stretch forward. One more with our breath. And then after our last round, we will meet back in downward facing dog. With those heels sinking towards the floor, you may add Jalandhara Bandha or float the head between those upper arm bones. Find stillness in this pose for a breath. Inhale, heels up. On the exhale, drop the knees to the floor. Sit back on those heels, point the toes. We'll allow our hands to sweep back to our feet and bow the head to the ground if it's available, or stack your fists or prop under the head. Child's pose. And then hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin. On our inhale, again, roll up the back. Head is the last thing to come up, and sitting back on our heels. So we are going to do another pranayama now and a pose. It's called Simhasana or Simharigasana, lion's breath and lion's pose. So I'm going to show you the traditional version to sit in, but we can also take a modification. So if we want to add the legs, it is hard on the knees, so you'll always just bring your legs forward and cross at the ankles if that's easier. But we open the knees wider than the hips, the toes are touching behind us. We try to sink down back into the heels and the wells of our feet. This will leave space between the knees for the hand and arm position. So from the back, you're sitting back on those heels. However, I know that's not comfortable for everybody. So if you are still able to sit like this, but you need a little lift, take your yoga block or two between the feet and under the sit bones. And you can be here. You'll still be able to lean forward into the hand position. Like I said, if that doesn't work, you'll just come back to a comfortable seated position, and you can forego. You might still be able to get the hands in front of the legs, I guess. So that might still work. Once we're there, we'll do several rounds of Simhasana. So this pose is said to release all tension through the face, the mouth, the jaw, and the throat. It also is very stimulating, again, for our thyroid, parathyroid, really healthy for any throat issues, jaw, mouth, tongue, and teeth issues. It's a very cleansing breath, and the exhale really is powerful. You have to put some effort into it. However, do not strain the throat. Do not strain your vocal cords. You should not be gagging, feeling discomfort in any way. So I usually say start out really quiet. We're not trying to make a sound like a lion. And it's like steaming up a mirror breath, or like when you go to clean your glasses and you just like that. So it can start off softer, and then you can always increase it. It also is a big stretch for the root of the tongue. So on our exhales, we'll open our mouth as wide as possible. We stick the tongue out, trying to get the tip of the tongue to the chin. We open our eyes as wide as possible, and we roll our eyes up to our drishti. The inhale closes the mouth and the eyes, and we inhale through the nose. We'll all end up moving at our own rhythm. So I'll start, and then you can join in whenever you want. There is a tendency to drool a little bit, so if that happens, doesn't matter, we're at home. If we want to add the hand position, your palms face forward, and you slide your fingertips back towards the body. On the inhale, you take pressure off the hands. Mouth and eyes are closed, inhaling through the nose. The exhale really matters here. So I'm going to lean into my palms, open the mouth, stick out the tongue, roll my eyes up, and do my. And it's okay if the exhale is 2 times, 3 times longer than the inhale. Just empty completely. And then you close the eyes and the mouth, inhale through the nose calmly. It shouldn't rush back in like a flood. Take your time. And same thing on the exhale, take your time. Just keep going. I'll give us a warning when we're about to stop. Let's all try one more round. Full inhale and one more really big, long exhale. Empty, empty, empty again. You should feel your belly pulling inward to squeeze that breath all the way out. Stretch out that mouth, stretch out that tongue, stretch out those eyes. And when we can no longer exhale any more air out, close the eyes, close the mouth. Sit back upright, take the pressure off the hands, placing the hands down on the knees, coming into chin mudra, index finger to thumb. Pause. Keep the mind very focused on the third eye center or the very center of the throat. Relax the face completely. Let the tongue and lower jaw fall away from the upper palate. Feel the weight of the shoulders, elbows, and hands. And then on our next inhale, just softly, slowly, we'll bring our awareness back to our space by fluttering the eyelids back open. And then we'll place our hands and walk them back forward so that we can take pressure off of our legs. We're going to want to stretch them out. So if you sat cross-legged, you can rejoin us at this point. We'll come back to our tabletop. Just give those feet a little tap. Come back to our single leg stretch so the blood rushes through those knees. This is where we get a lot of benefit from that purposeful compression. And we will also, if we like, pop back up to down dog to stretch out the whole body. And then we'll bring it back down. We'll shift our hips over to one side and kind of sit back here and bring our feet forward. So we might need to rearrange ourselves one more time on our mat so that we have space behind us. It is time to bring ourselves all the way back down to the ground. Whether you want to roll to one side and walk yourself down or roll through the spine, planting the feet, knees open wide, fingertips reach forward. We pull the abdomen really strongly. And we just try to do a slow release down through the sacrum, the low back, mid back, upper back, and the head. And we'll stretch our legs out. We'll reach our arms overhead. And we'll stretch and release the whole body here. And then exhale, let's float those arms down. Draw the shoulder blades under, step the feet in. We'll want, sorry, I should have told you this before we got on our back, but we'll want our yoga block or a firmly folded blanket or a firm type of cushion. A bolster could work for our low back. We'll come into supported bridge, Setu Bandhasan. We will move into waterfall, Supta Konasana, and then go from there. So this is our little finishing series we'll do today. Step those heels in towards the buttocks. Draw the shoulder blades down and under. Squeeze the buttocks, the hamstrings, and the low back to lift our hips up. We will slide our prop under the sacrum, so that low flat part of the body. It should be supporting the whole weight of the hips and the pelvis. We'll have a little bit of flesh hanging off one side. Now this will elevate the chest, redirects our blood flow right into the throat center and our head. We can continue to reach the arms down, fingertips towards those heels. Now, if we want to move into Purna Setu Bandhasan, full bridge pose, try one leg at a time first, slide one heel forward. Remember, we don't want to just collapse that knee towards the ground, so keep some energy through the foot and the leg. If that feels okay, you can try the other leg. Eventually, both legs reach forward. So we come into full bridge, elevating the hips, opening the front of the hips. Heart's a little higher than the head, so this is still considered an inversion. And the chest can move towards the chin, but avoid tucking the chin to the chest in this pose. The weight should be in the meaty part of the shoulders and not on the neck. And then we'll step our feet back into bridge pose if we had slid them forward in full bridge pose. Now, we do not need to do this on our lift. If at this point we want to slide our prop out, you're more than welcome to. If you want to keep this elevation for a little bit more of an inversion, you can stay on your lift. We'll draw one knee in at a time. So now we're lifted up on our prop with both knees pulled in. And using our muscles, we extend our legs up to the ceiling and Viparati Parani, waterfall pose. And from here, the legs should be vertical and stacked. Point and flex the feet a couple times. This will put slight more pressure in those shoulders. Make sure you're not compromising the neck. We'll hold for several breaths, redirecting our energy and blood flow again towards the throat, the upper extremities. Next inhale, we'll open those legs nice and wide into Supta Konasana, wide angle pose. If we're elevated, we're going to get a little bit more intensity, so be mindful. Do try to press those heels out. Gravity is stretching out the inner thighs, the groin muscles. One more breath. And then we'll inhale, pull those legs back up. We have to use our muscles into waterfall pose. Try to create some symmetry here in the legs and the feet. We can press up through the mound of the big toes. And then we'll bend our knees back in towards the body, relax the feet down, and we'll drop one foot at a time back down to the ground. Now, those of us that are still elevated on our props, use the backs of the arms, tighten up the backside, and only lift up enough to slide the prop out. And then melt the low back to the floor. Pause. Little rocking side to side in our knees. And then we can hug those knees in and maybe drop them to the right side for a breath or two, to the left side. Or if you feel like you need a happy baby or you want to do some windshield wipers, kind of just move the body around one last time in which way it would like. And then once we feel like we've kind of gotten that last little movement out and balanced ourselves out, we will move into final relaxation today. So for our final relaxation, we can revisit the pose that we started our practice in. If we want to place our chairs back on our mat or move over to a piece of furniture to sweep our lower legs onto. If we want to move over towards a wall and slide our legs up the wall, placing blankets, pillows underneath the legs, or simply just lying flat on the floor. I'll give us all a moment to figure out what will be best for our bodies. Once we've gotten comfortable, we loosen everything up. We want to keep our head in line with our spine. We might let the arm bones roll off the side, the torso palms up, or cactus those arms back out to continue to open up through this area in the upper half of our body. We'll close our eyes or use our eye coverings to help those eyes relax. Poofing the cheeks up with air, wiggle out the mouth, the tongue, and the jaw. And then let's take 2 big full breaths to help the mind and the body relax this morning. So smooth inhale through the nose. Let's fill ourselves up. Smooth exhale back out through the nose. And on this exhale, we feel the whole body relax, letting go of any tension in the mind, the body. Again, smooth breath in, fill the body up. And another nice big exhale to let it all go. Clean the body out. Let go of any tightness in the muscles, the joints. And then we will let go of trying to follow and control the breath. Allow the breath to just be easy, natural. Let go of any ujjayi breath. Relax the throat completely. Release the tongue and lower jaw to gravity. Feel the weight of the arms sinking into the ground. Relaxing the hands, the fingertips, the centers of the palms. Relax all the way around the torso, the space between the ribs. Relax the abdomen completely. And then feel the weight of the legs, whether they're upright or connected to the ground. Relaxing all the way down into the feet, the toes, and the soles of the feet. If the mind wanders, we gently bring it back to our peaceful breath. Or we can rest our mind's eye at the throat center today, our place of creativity, communication, and truth. Giving ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to simply be and breathe. And we'll start to come back to our breath and breathe life back into our body. Little wiggle of toes and fingertips. And again, depending where we are in our space today, if you have legs up the wall, take a moment to slide the feet down and open the knees out into bound ankle pose. If we have our legs on a chair, we can stretch the legs out. If we're in Shavasana on the floor, we can reach our arms overhead and create more space in the right side, the left side. Just kind of start to move and stretch things out. And then we'll try to step those feet in, float our arms down, drawing our knees into the body and giving our back a little massage when we're ready. And then from there, right arm falls beside the head. We roll onto our right side and we pause here for a moment. And then keeping those eyes closed or soft, we'll press into the ground and we will revisit any comfortable position in a seated position to take a couple more breaths together today. Find the sit bones, sit up tall through all that space we created in our spine this morning. Float those arms up beside us, minding our surroundings. Inhale, breathing, let's reach and stretch those arms all the way up to the ceiling. Big breath in and gathering in everything we need for the rest of our day. Turn those palms out, float those arms all the way back down. And letting go of all that other junk we don't need today. And then one more time, let's inhale, reach those arms up. This time bringing the palms to touch and exhaling our hands to our heart center. Humbly bowing the head down to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and remembering to be grateful to anyone else that made it possible for us to spend our morning together practicing yoga. And if you'd like to join me in chanting the Om Shanti mantra, please do so. Otherwise, sit with the breath for just another moment. To chant, we start by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I thank you all as usual for spending the morning here with me and each other. Thank you all so much for your continued support and all of your patience. That was so nice. We had the breeze coming in. It got a little loud there at the end, but I eventually closed my door. But that was so nice, you guys. Thank you for being here.